Hi, and welcome to Conversations with God with Nsikan Abasi. Hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Searching for love in all the wrong places, and your love stretched out to me, seeking acceptance from other wrong people. When you have accepted me, hey, people fail, but you remain faithful to the end, faithful to the end. Your love endures, though we ignore. You're faithful to the end, faithful to the end. Though the world is fickle and fleeting, in you I find stability. Even when I'm left all alone, it's in you that I find my hope. People fail, but you remain faithful to the end, faithful to the end. Your love endures, though we ignore. You're faithful to the end, faithful to the end. People may fail, but you remain faithful to the end, faithful to the end. Your love endures, though we ignore. You're faithful to the end. Even when we are unfaithful, even when we are unfaithful, Lord, you are so faithful, so faithful. Even when we are unfaithful, even when we are unfaithful, Lord, you are so faithful, so faithful, so faithful, so faithful, so faithful. You're faithful to the end.
Hi again, my name is Nsikan Abasi. Nsikan for short, Nsi Baby, as AKA. What does that even mean? The song you just heard is called Faithful to the End. It's the fourth song of the Conversations with God album. Yes, we're going chronologically, as I said in the I don't even know what episode I said that, but yeah, in previous episodes. Shout out to Nelson Jason for helping me film and record the singing parts. I forgot to mention it in the past two episodes, but honestly, he did it for all the episodes that you're going to watch. And yeah, I'm so grateful, super grateful for the help because it was stressing me. I can't over talk over what's the word? Cha, I can't over stress how much it was stressing me. Today's episode is about loneliness and friendships when people leave you. When people leave, that reminds me of my former church. I feel like there's a book like that that the founder wrote. But if you know, you know. Or is it people that leave you? If you know, you know. I actually have an episode on this song. I think it's in season one, or is it season two? Probably season one actually. Um, it was around the time I actually wrote the song that I recorded that episode, and I did go into detail about certain themes around the song and why I recorded the song that day, which was because of a friendship squabble. However, I didn't give the full story. So the full story goes thus. Do people talk like that? If they do, they should stop. The scene is law school. As I mentioned in the previous episodes, I was posted to Yenegua for Bar 2, which is the main law school, and I wasn't having a nice time, as I mentioned. Just to say that I was also newly single. Yeah, yeah. I was newly single and I was in a vulnerable position. The thing is that most of my friends were not in Enegua. I only had like maybe two or three people I knew in Yenegua. Most of my friends were posted to the Abuja campus, which is where I wanted to be, by the way. Um, so I was feeling lonely in two forms, friendships and romantic relationships. 'Cause I now have a boyfriend to rely on anymore. It's not like it was actually that reliable at some point anyway. So it was even good. Anyway, somebody entered my life. Some boy. I won't call him a man because he's not deserving of the man title. He was giving me attention, and I think when a guy likes you, when a guy is trying to hit on you, and that's exactly how I felt. And in my head, I'm like, okay, but like, first of all, I just one of men. Ah, relationships can do that to you. I just one of men, and I was just like, God, I can't even imagine. I can't believe that I allowed a man to do me like this. That I felt like I was dying. Never again. Never what again. So in my head, it was just me and God. So I'm just like, okay, what is this attention I'm receiving? Should I even pay attention to it? Also, I wasn't quite sure if he knew God like that. Being in a close relationship with God is a very big criteria for anyone that wants to date me, in case you're watching. So I didn't give him that much attention, neither did I pay that much attention to what he was doing and what he was saying. But honestly, I would lie, I felt flattered. I enjoyed the attention that he was giving to me. And I'm sure if he persisted, maybe at some point my walls would have fallen down, or I don't know. I think these days I've become more of an iron woman. So that wouldn't have happened. But maybe then, because I was in a vulnerable position. Please tell me why. My friend told me that he was dating somebody else. I said, oh, they say men will stain your white. I don't believe that. I believe that the man I'm going to marry is not a scum. Neither will he stain my white. And the men in my life are not scums. Neither do they stain anybody's white. But that boy in particular was trying to stain my white. But my Jesus passing. Yeah, my Jesus passing. Because I was just like, how could this guy, in all boldness, be chasing after me and pursuing someone else? Like, what was he trying to do? To win a bet or prove that he's a Casanova or something? Who does that? Anyway, that's why I call him boy and all man. But apart from the fact that I was just like, "Whew," I dodged a bullet, I still felt some kind of way about the situation because in my past, yeah, in my past life as a teenager, I really valued male validation, not to dump on my parents or anything, but they were not the kinds of parents that will focus on things that some Christians refer to as vanity, like how I looked or social skills or something. So they didn't tell me I was beautiful. I'm sure in their heads they're like, oh yeah, she knows already. But I really needed to hear that, especially being a dark skinned um woman, dark skinned girl. And my God, some adults actually have problems. Because I remember in primary three, yeah, I remember, there was another girl who was supposedly celebrating her birthday on the same day with me, and she was light skinned. And some teacher or some like an adult was saying, oh, that I need to wear a fancier outfit because we're allowed to wear mufti on our birthdays in primary school. So I should wear a fancier outfit to school so that I won't allow the babe to outshine me because she's light skinned. Who says that? I was 8. Who says that to an 8-year old? So just people giving me insecurities from nowhere. So I really valued male validation as a child, as a teenager, because no one else was telling me I was beautiful. You know the way society is around, like raising females. Everything you do is, oh, husband's house, marry, husband's house, marry, husband's house. Thankfully, my parents are not like that, but your parents can be different, but the rest of society will still kind of impact you or affect you. Male validation meant a lot to me, so I was growing out of it by the time I became an adult, but it took a while. It's still taking a while, honestly. If I am being honest, it's still taking a while. And the fact that the male validation I was getting was a fake one because he was never going to be serious about me made me feel some type of way, and I felt really lonely. I felt disregarded. I felt undervalued. I just felt unloved. I felt really unloved. And I was in class, property law practice class. I think that was the same day I heard that he was dating that babe. And yeah, I wasn't listening to the lecture. If you went to Yenagua campus with me, you will know what I mean. You will know what I mean. Because some of those lecturers, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. God gave me a song. The song is You Are My Love, You Are My Great Love. And I don't need attention from anyone else. You are my love, you are my great love. And I can't wait to spend eternity with you. As I grew in understanding, I realized that we're not waiting for eternity. Eternity has already started once you accept Jesus, once you accept the sacrifice on the cross. So instead of I can't wait for eternity with you, I said I'm grateful for eternity with you. Right? I really like that song was such an anchor. That happened in 2019. In 2021, I was in another, will I say, situation where I felt unloved. And this was not with respect to a man, it was with respect to my friends. Life was happening. 2021 was also a COVID year. And the thing is that in 2020, because we did not really know what was happening, we had free time. I think I spoke to my friends a whole lot that 2020. But as 2021 came around the corner, you know, people started understanding the realities of what had actually happened in 2020 and what was still happening. Work became busier. Some people just did not have time to give what they were giving before. And I felt like I was left alone and I was unloved. And the people that I was relying on to give me love and give me validation were no longer available. It's not like they stopped talking to me altogether, but I'm sure they were going through things on their own. So I felt like they weren't giving me the love I desired. So I sat down with this song I got in law school and I was trying to come up with a verse for it. Now, instead of coming up with a verse, I ended up coming up with another song, which is this song, Faithful to the End. Funny, that's the same story for Perfection, which is the next song on the album and the next episode. Because I was also trying to come up with a verse for this same You Are My Love song. And yeah, it ended up being another song. Very wild something. But yeah. And the song still does not have a verse, by the way. I've given up on it. Whatever God wants to do with the song, He will do it. In case you're curious about how the song sounds, I actually have a video of it on my social media. Maybe it would have been deleted by this time, by the time this video goes up, or maybe not, so you can go and check. All the songs that I've been given, they were responses to the feelings that I had, but they didn't exactly solve the feelings that I had immediately. Some of them did, some of them didn't, and this was one of them that didn't. Because even after I got the song and God was saying that people fail, but He remains faithful to the end. So His love endures whether or not I ignore it or I accept it. He is still there. Although I heard all of that and I knew it somewhere on the inside, it just was not translating into real life. I kind of grew up like an only child. I have siblings, but they're way older than me. So by the time I was getting an understanding of what was happening in life, they had already left the house. They'd gone on to boarding school or university. So I grew up without having people to talk to apart from my parents. And my parents were busy people. My dad was working. My mom was doing her business. And they were also not the kind of companionship I was looking for as a child. I know these days people say that their parents are their best friends, but not me. I love my parents, but they're not my best friends. T for sense. Anyway, so I always just go out to my friends' house, my neighbors' houses, to play with them because I always felt lonely, and I got into trouble a lot because of that, because my parents were always like, why are you always going to people's houses? Why can't they come to your own house? I used to sneak out though. When I reached teenage years, you think that that is when sneaking out happened. But no, I sneak out as a child. I used to sneak out of the house. So one time I even snuck out to follow them to somewhere else outside of where we live. I was really sure my parents were going to beat the hell out of me that day. But funny enough, all they asked was, did you eat? I said yes. I said, all right, go to your room. That was the end. We never spoke about it again. Well, anyway, yeah, I grew up like an only child. So I've always had some kind of loneliness in me, a deep seated loneliness that although I was always going to play with friends, once I got home, I was alone. And I'd been trying to fill that void with different things like male validation, as I mentioned earlier, or friendships. When I had sense, finally, I realized that a man should not validate me, but also friends should not validate me because only God validates, and only God gives the attention that we actually desire. And only God can fill the deepest void. It took me a while. It's taken me, let's say, 3 years. Yeah, since 2021 till this 2024. I think, well, I don't know when this episode is going on, but I'm pretty sure it's not 2024. But it was only in 2024 that I finally got to experience what it meant for God to fill the void of loneliness in my heart. Because I don't even talk to my friends as often as before. We do talk, but not often. Yet I feel no void because God has filled me up, and I'm so grateful for that. And I just want to give an encouragement to whoever is out there who also can relate to how I felt about the loneliness, the void, the deep seated void that you feel. And some of you might not even try to fill it with people. Maybe you're trying to fill it with substances, entertainment, YouTube and Instagram. Catch your sub. But and even Netflix. But none of these things will actually fill you. In my own case, they used to leave me hungry, like physically hungry. Weird stuff. But they won't fill you. Only God does. Only God provides satisfaction and fills your deepest void. And I believe that void was even placed in us so that we will realize that we cannot do this life without God and we should depend on God. So God is telling you that He's faithful to the end because people will leave. People will fail you. Obviously, there's some people that should not be failing you in life, like your spouses, but you should also leave room for human error because it's really a very high standard to live up to. And honestly, as humans in this flesh, we are kind of disadvantaged in our flesh. And we cannot live up to that standard. Only God can. Only God can. I hope you've gotten something out of this episode. And I hope you remember all the time that God is with you. He never leaves. He's faithful to the end. People may fail, but God remains faithful to the end. I love you. God loves you. And God keep you. Bye.
Even when we are unfaithful, even